So this is Wellness for Geeks Who Sit. If you see me looking at my phone, I swear I'm not being rude, it's just where I keep my notes on a Google Doc. And I want to make sure that I give you all everything that I have planned for you today. So I usually start this off by telling everyone a little bit about myself because you're kind of trusting me with your bodies, right? Anyone who teaches you movement, it's sort of an intimate relationship of sorts, and I want to make sure that you know a little bit about me first. Some of you just heard some of this in the last panel, so my apologies. I'm Robyn Warren, and I am a former New York City public school teacher, as well as a former clinical family planning health educator. I have a bachelor's of science in physical education and a master's of science in health education. I say all of this because I know that a lot of people in my field do not come with credentials, and I have so many to try to combat my imposter syndrome. I am certified in a lot of different ways, but I'm not going to waste time listing them out for you. They are on my website. Thank you. So you see the term Geek Girl Strong everywhere, even though it's not in the the workshop's title. That is the community that I founded in 2015. And it started off as me being inspired by my kids. I do not have any biological children. If you know any teachers, you hear them just say, my kids. And they're still my kids, even though they're all adding me on LinkedIn, because I've been out the game for a little while and they've all graduated. I taught 6th through 12th grade, and if you can remember the summer from 6th into 7th grade, you can probably remember that that was a big time in your life at the moment. And what I was seeing as a teacher was that, especially for my female students, because I was teaching PE, so there are certain, people are shaking their heads, you'll be all right with me though. So what I was seeing was that a lot of my students would come back from the summer and they felt like they had to choose one of 3 boxes. They were going to be a tomboy, and they were still going to kick butt at kickball. They were going to be concerned about their looks and socialization and come back from the summer and say, I don't sweat anymore, Miss Warren. And that was their thing. Or maybe it was the kid who was like, I will take the 0 and read manga in the bleachers. Please don't even look at me, do not perceive me. And me being there, at the time I was in my early 20s, I still looked similar to the way that I look now. I'm a very unassuming PE teacher. I do not look like many PE teachers that people had. I definitely don't look like the ones in media. So I was this kid who was also the child of an immigrant. My parents also didn't have 4-year degrees. And I had all of these things that my students at the time also had, because I taught in a neighborhood called Washington Heights, which a lot of people are now familiar with. I wonder why. And they also realized that I was their PE teacher, right? So I was really into movement. But also I would call out of work to go to New York Comic Con. And then I would bring back free comics and say, hey, you want to lead the stretches for me? I'll give you a free comic book if you do. Or if you participate today, I will let you write me the 10 best anime ever. And that way, I kept the kid busy and I got a list of anime to watch, and it all worked out in the end. I also started playing games, or changing the name of them. So rather than steal the bacon, which if you remember, you all get a number, there's an item in the middle of the room, they call your number, you steal the thing, you try to go back to your team. Rather than calling it by its real name, I started calling it the Hunger Games Cornucopia. And I would put on the whole thing, right? And instead of just numbers, they had districts. And I knew that the kids who were showing up to school because they loved PE and because they wanted to play were gonna do it no matter what silly thing I did. But the kids who had had bad movement experiences or just didn't feel connected to it, maybe I could pull them in by doing my silly little dance. While I was doing all of that, I was going to meetups like Geek Girl Brunch and telling the stories of my PE and health experiences. And the women there at those meetups would look at me and say, do you train adults? And I said, I don't, but I can. And therefore, I started bartering services for Geek Girl Strong. I swear there's a point to everything that I'm saying. I'm basically telling you my origin story and Geek Girl Strong's origin story. So, with all of that, I started realizing that rather than expecting people who didn't have good movement experiences like I did to come into new spaces, I could bring the space to them. Hence me doing these kinds of things at conventions and trying to reach people where they are rather than expecting for people to come into health and wellness spaces because I know what they are, you guys, and it's not great most of the time. Now you know enough about me. Oh, there's one more thing I want to say, too. One of the things that I'm very fortunate that I got to do as a PE teacher is teach adaptive PE. If you don't know what adaptive PE is, it's for students with special needs, usually physically because it's PE. So that means that I really pride myself on finding movement that anybody can do. So throughout today, I'm going to give you different things that you can do, as well as modifications and variations of those movements. If I don't cover one of your needs, just keep the question until the end, and I would be more than happy to add additional thoughts and movements so that I can address your needs. Same thing with the questions in general. Keep them to the end, because I want you to get as much movement as possible, and then we'll get to them. Now a question for you. Raise your hand if you feel like you spend about 5 hours or more in a seated position on a usual day, average day. Everyone. Just in case you can't see, it was everyone. All right, 6 or more? Keep your hand up if it's 7. 8. Few hands put down. 9. 10. 11. Yeah, so it's still All right, so anything more than that is half of your day. Right? So that means that we are spending a lot of time in this seated position like this. So, on theme with the work that I do, rather than expecting for people to jump over all the hurdles that one has to in order to get moving, I'm bringing the movement to your seated area. So we are going to start up high and work our way down with movements, and then we're going to finish off with stretches today. Cool? So I'm actually going to prop this up. I'm going to use the PE voice that I still have. Because I need 3 hands in order to instruct you all. Was that surprising that I could actually do? Some of you are like, ugh. All right, so we're going to get warmed up, and then we're going to stretch. Pro tip that you've probably already seen on the internet. Stretching cold muscles is a no-no. Do dynamic things, warm them up, and then lengthen them. So that's what we're going to do. Today we're going to start off with some punches. So I want everyone to bring their arms up like they're blocking their face. Good, so those of you who are down here, if I came up to you, would I hit you? Probably. Bring those arms up in front of you, elbow out from your shoulders. I am not a boxing instructor, so I don't care how you punch, but I do care that you keep it safe. So all that I want for you to make note of is that you don't block out your elbow when you punch. You keep what they call a soft elbow. So see how I gently bench my elbow? So when I punch, I keep my elbow slightly bent. It's not completely straight. You all are practicing. One more thing of note, if someone is sitting right in front of you. I was a public school teacher, but I'm out of the security game. So please move maybe 1 seat over so you're not punching someone in the back of the head. Ready? We're going to do 10 of them, and I want for you to all help me count because I have to talk so much. On your mark, get set, go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful, you started! Round of applause. Excellent. Next up, we're going to bring it up high. So this isn't exactly practical, but it is still going to make you warm. So rather than going forward, we're going to punch up to the ceiling like Mario. I'm a nerd. 10 times as well. Ready, go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful! Next up, I call this the remix. We are going to do 2 forward, 2 up. For some people, that's going to be the coordination bit that you didn't like about PE. It feels a little bit like this. That's okay. Fake the funk. I'm not here to grade you. I'm exposure therapy to a nice PE teacher with no grades. Ready? 2 forward, 2 up, 10 times. On your mark, get set, go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, That is a myth. There is nothing that you can do exercise-wise to strengthen your knees or your ankles, your elbows, your wrists. But what we can do is strengthen the muscles that surround them so that they're properly supported. And I know that a lot of people who sit do a lot of things like this, and therefore we need to take care of this area of your body. So, hands up. Woo! And then say hello. So, fingertips out nice and wide, and then in a fist as fast as you can. Go. Oh man. Very nice. Now I want you to bring it to the side and drop the mic. It's funny how you need to like put your palms down because I said to drop the mic, right? Excellent. Now I want for you to put them all the way down on your legs and drop your grocery bags. Keep going. Are you feeling things? Excellent. Drop the mic. Good. Say hello. Good. We're almost there. And relax. I love those sounds. I always know they're coming. I absolutely love them. So, that can help a lot with your grip. It is actually a pole dancing warm-up. You're welcome. One of the many things I have a certification in. So, doing even things like this in a seated position, right? We haven't really moved yet, can allow for you to warm up all of these muscles. Next up, we're going to use that to grip. So I want you to take your hands and put them together. If you are able, I want you to bring your elbows out so that you have a kind of an angle here. From here, I want you to press your fingertips against each other so that you kind of make a space between your hands. And it should feel like you're gripping the other fingertips. And relax. Good. Do it again. Grip. Relax. Good. One more time. Grip. And relax. Excellent. Shake it out. You might have noticed that you can feel your pectoral muscles flex when that happens. Everyone has pectoral muscles, and they're underneath there for some people. And what this really helps with is any exercise on the floor, or even the wall. This is a big tip that a lot of people are missing. So if you're someone who's like, Robyn, I really do want to work out, I want to do things, but anytime I'm in a plank or try to do a push-up, my wrists hurt too much for me to do it. Go onto the floor or the wall and do what we did, grip. And then you can notice that you're actually using the muscles in your hands and your forearms to support that position rather than putting all of your weight down. So one more time, now that you know that, grip. Are we feeling things this time now that we know what to look for? You can nod. Excellent, and relax. Great job. Next up, I think we're about to get into what a lot of people enjoy, the core. Which is related to posture. Every time I say the word posture in these workshops, someone's laughing because they know what I'm going to say. Everyone does this. They're like, oh, she's paying attention to my posture. We are going to start off by figuring out the middle ground for you. So we're going to do what's called cat-cow, but on a chair. You might be familiar with this in a tabletop position on the floor in yoga. I'm going to do it to the side, just because doing it to my chair, you're not really going to see it. You do not need to move. My hands are going to come on the front of my knees. I'll face you in a moment. My knees are about over my ankles. This will look different on different bodies, so adjust as needed. Fingers are on the front of my knees. From here, I'm going to take a deep breath in, and I'm going to reach my chest forward, arching my back. If you're comfy, you can put your head back, but it's not necessary. Then, push on top of your thighs and round your back towards the back of your chair. Then again, breathe in, big chest forward, good. Breathe out, scrunch your belly, back to the chair. Excellent, breathe in. Good, and one more time, breathe out. Excellent. So now you've actually moved along your spine so that we can figure out where your body wants to be, not just mine. Facing this way just to mix things up. What's the thing that a lot of people do whenever they want to fix their posture? Like bodily. What do you usually do? Yeah, like this, right? You realize you're like this, and then you go, hooray. So, we're going to start off with that. Everybody relax. Pretend like I'm not talking about your posture. Excellent. Then, shoulders up, back, down. Do you feel very proud? Yeah, this is the proud position. Relax. Let's do it again. Up, back, down. Excellent. So, you can relax. We have the first part of posture. What I feel is the most important is happy puppy and sad puppy, known as the pelvic tilt. So, we constantly do this with our upper back, but very often we neglect the lower back. And the way that we can address that is by not being sad puppies. What do sad puppies do? Their tail is between their legs. You don't even have to see them do the bad thing. You walk in the room and they're like, oh no, and they're very sad. Most humans sit like sad puppies. Right? If I had a tail on my tailbone, it would be between my legs right now. So what I want for all of you, what I aspire to for you, is to be a happy puppy. Someone did it automatically. So I take my pelvis, remember this cat-cow thing? You were just doing it. I take my tail and I take it out from underneath me. Excellent. Let's do it all together. Relax. Sad puppy. Happy puppy. Whoop. Sad puppy. Happy puppy. Whoop. One more time. Sad puppy. Happy puppy. Woo. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was beautiful. I didn't tell you what you were clapping for, so I will tell you now. That was twerking 101. So if you think you couldn't, now you know. It's all about the pelvic tilt, baby. So let's mix those two things together to start with. Shoulders up, back, down, happy puppy. Woo! Wow, look at that. Now that we're here, we're really going to think about the abdominals, the front of your core. And what I want you to do is, if your ribs are poking out, pull them down to the floor. And then think about pulling your belly button to the back of your chair. So it's not like, it's like, it's like bracing for the strongest anime punch you could imagine. Not saying a character, don't have time for that debate. Just think about it and flex. So let's do that again. Shoulders, up, back, and down. Happy puppy. Ribs down, flex. Does everyone feel that? If you don't, touch. Feel your belly and feel if it feels like it's flexing. From here, this is where the core work comes in. But really, this is staying upright even though it feels weird. One more thing we're going to add on. We have the shoulders, we have the pelvis, we have the abdominals. Then I want for you to think about where your head is and bring it back probably at least an inch. And it should feel like you're leaning up against a force field that's holding you up. So rather than being here forward, because a lot of us do this all the time, we're bringing your head back into alignment with the rest of your spine. Good. And relax. Now we're going to do some ab work in your chair. I'm going to flip around. So, shoulders, pelvis, core. Then, if you feel like you want to get spicy, lean back. Ooh. If you want to get spicier, lift up your knee. You can hold on if that's helpful. Then lift up your other knee. Now we're going to go back and forth 10 times. On your mark, get set, count. 1, 2, good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Come up to relax for a moment. If you have a hard time knowing that your abdominals are engaged, I want for you to touch those muscles or that part of your body, because for some people that will help you learn what your body is doing. Now we're going to do a twist. So same thing, and you're going to lean back if you want. Hands are going to come out in front, and you're not going to turn your hands. You're going to turn your entire chest and look to the side. Good. Just like that. We're going to do 10. Ready? 1, 2. Good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent job. Was anyone not able to feel their core? Just raise your hand because I want to get a gauge for Q&A. Sort of, kind of? Okay, good. Thank you for being honest. I'll keep that in mind towards the end. Next up, we're going down low. So we're going to start off with what are called nerve glides. And that actually allows for your nerves to glide inside of your body. If you want, you can hold on to your leg for this one, or you can just prop it up on your chair. You may have to kind of go out to the side if there's a chair right in front of you. You can also just keep it low in between the chair legs in front of you. From here, we're going to flex, and we're going to point. So again, flex is this position, point is this position. 10 times. Ready? 9, and 10. Other side. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3. Keep going. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brilliant. So this can also be helpful because very often we stay in the flexed position when we're seated, right? Where there's just constantly this angle on your ankles. So lengthening the top of your leg through your toes and then stretching all the muscles behind it by pulling your heel forward can help you strengthen your muscles and stretch them while you're seated in your workspace or wherever you are. Next, sorry to tell you, we're doing some cardio. I don't like cardio. I only run if it's for my life. So even though I'm like a fitness professional or whatever, everyone has the things they like. And I do not like this. I'd rather dance. That being said, anybody ever see like athletes do quick feet in training? Just raise your hand or nod if you've seen it. Excellent. We are going to do that in a seated position. There are two different ways to do this one. I can either lean forward in my chair and really get a sound going. If you happen to live in an apartment, like I have for most of my life, you know that your under-you neighbors would absolutely hate you. So the option is to lean back so that there isn't as much weight on your feet and you can control how hard you hit the floor. Excellent. That being said, we're all going to do this for 30 seconds together. Choose your mode. On your mark, get set, go! That was 5 seconds. Keep going. Of course, if you need to stop, by all means stop. No judgments. You have 10 seconds. Still. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. All right, raise your hand if your breath is going a little harder and your heart is maybe beating a little faster after those 30 seconds. Raise your hand if you, in reality, have 30 seconds in your workday. If you're being honest, when I say be honest, more people raise their hands. So, that goes to show you that you can do a little bit of cardio in your workspace. You don't have to go anywhere. Next up, we're going to do more strengthening. Hold on. We're going to do some more strengthening. We're going to do calf raises. So for these, I'll face this way first. A lot of people can do them with their ankles right underneath their knees because I'm under 5'5", I'm especially when I get to bring my feet a little bit closer to me. That tends to work a little bit better for my body, but you can gauge what's best for you. I'm going to be here. I'll show you all about here. And I'm going to lift up onto my toes. And when I do that, I should feel my calves. This is your calf. Flex. And then relax. Good. 10 times. On your mark. Get set. Begin. 1, 2. Good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent. Beautiful. Now, the last thing for legs will call for you to stand if that's accessible to you. If it is not accessible to you, hold on just a moment. I have some tips for you. So, raise your hand if you've done a squat in the last 24 hours. Okay, raise your hand if you were in a seated position and then stood up in the last 24 hours. Therefore, you have all done a squat in the last 24 hours. You know how like the square is a rectangle, not a square thing? Yeah, so you've done a squat. We are going to go over it today. What I want you to start off with is foot forward. So, I want for you to take your feet and turn them out to about 10 and 2 on a clock. That was 10 and 2 on a clock, also known as like 30 degrees out each. Then I want for you to think about how the weight is in your feet when we stand. Stand up. Excellent. I want for you to think about 3 points underneath your feet and trying to feel them in your shoes. I want for you to think about the big knuckle of your big toe, the knuckle, that same line of knuckles of your baby toe, And I want for you to think of these as the triforce of your body. And I want for you to press these 3 points down into the floor. For those of us who have very low arches or even flat feet, you will feel your arches flex. And even if you don't, you still might feel your arches right now. Relax. Let's try it again. If you found that you did like the Michael Jackson, that probably means that you're not pressing into your heel as well. So press big toe, baby toe, heel. Press down. Hook. This should allow for your arch to become engaged like a supportive bridge. And this is what you should think about when you're washing the dishes, when you're doing lunges, when you're doing squats. Now, I want for you to keep your knees in line with your toes, pushing them gently out from each other. You can look behind yourself to start so you know it's there, and sit. Excellent. Think about your triforce. Is your triforce gently pressing into the floor as you're seated? If not, give it a try. Now, I want you to drive your heels to Hades while keeping the 2 points down. Stand and squeeze your butt like you're holding it apart in front of someone cute. Ready? Stand. Hook. Yeah. And then sit. One more time. Heels to Hades. Squeeze. And sit. Let's do 8 more. On your mark. Get set. Go. 1. In your own time. 2. Good. 3. Excellent. 4. Keep squeezing. 5. Good. 6. 7. One more. 8. And sit. Round of applause. So, if you are unable to stand up for any reason, whether that's a mobility reason or because you work in a cubicle and this would look really weird every time you stood up at work, there are a few options. You can work out your quadriceps. Someone please raise their hand who does not know me and tell us why are these called, or one of the main reasons why these are called your quadriceps. Yes?
4 muscles.
Correct. There are 4 muscles. This is going to be a theme that comes up later. It's not a pop quiz, I'm just letting you know. You can still work out your quadriceps by either holding onto your leg or letting it float, extend the leg, and bring it back, just like we did with your ankle. If you're not sure what you should be feeling, put a hand, you can put one under, one on top. Feel your muscle flex and relax. Get tight and relax. Does everyone feel that? Yeah. Good. Another option is if driving your heels down is very difficult for you for any reason, you can use your center of gravity to help. So imagine bringing your nose in front of your knees. And most of you have probably seen an elderly family member or someone who's just lacking mobility to stand do it. It is very valid. So you're here, heels still drive down, and I stand up. One last one is you can take a pillow, or you all can do it without. I want you to bring your feet nice and close, inner thighs touching. This will look different on different bodies. Squeeze your thighs together. And then relax. Squeeze. And then relax. One more time. Squeeze. And then relax. Good. So these are your inner thigh muscles that often get neglected. You can also strengthen them while you're in the seated position. Round of applause. We're doing all like the movement based right outside. Now, it's most people's favorite part. It's the stretching. We are going to go over a lot of different stretches that you can do in a seated position. And we're going to start up top again and work our way down. First is the neck. Bring one hand over the top of your head, fingertips over your ear. If this looks slightly different on your body, that is okay. If you want a little bit of an extra stretch, you're going to take your arm and bring it behind your back like this. If that's not accessible to you, it's not necessary. From here, lower those shoulders and gently bring ear to shoulder. Good. Check in with your shoulders one more time, relax them. Excellent. From here, if you'd like the stretch to move a little further back on your neck, I want you to gently turn your face towards your armpit like you're sneaking a sniff on the pond floor, just to make sure. Excellent. And gently release. Good. Other side. Over the top. Arm behind the back if you want. And gently over to the side. Good. Then if you want, you can add that gentle turn of your face towards your armpit. Excellent. Gently relax. Next up, we're going to hit the back of your neck and your track. So a lot of people who know muscles know these as track muscles, like the big bodybuilding ones, right? But in reality, your track muscle is a diamond on your back. It starts here and ends here. It is also out here and here. So it's this flat muscle on your back. So when a lot of my clients say, I've got tension headaches, and it's just really tight, or the middle of my back hurts, but it's giving me a headache, it's because all of that is connected. And because most of us are like this constantly, that muscle is having to hold on to your big ass head. Because humans, just biologically, we have very heavy heads. So imagine like a resistance band in PT holding a watermelon, right? And we're doing that constantly, over and over again, to the point that you're seeing high schoolers in PT for hunches, right? So even though you might feel like your mom or grandparent by looking at your phone like this, it is actually much healthier for you. So just keep that in mind going forward. We're going to stretch that all out now. Fingers interlocked on the back of your head, if possible. Excellent. Face down towards the floor, chin to chest, elbows in towards each other. And just stay here. Allow for your face to weigh down to the floor. I want for you to let your shoulders relax down your back if possible. Excellent. From here, you can gently press your hands into the back of your head and your head into your hands. So just this counter push. I'm going to show you if you need a visual. Just like this. And then gently release and roll up. Excellent. You all did that so gently. I'm so proud. Coming out of stretches can be dangerous. Next up, I'm going to check my notes, make sure we're on task. Yeah, we're going to do nerve glides for the arms like we did for the legs. We're going to start with the ulnar nerve glide, which is along your pinky side of your arm. Hand out, stop, don't touch me, to the side. Stop right now, thank you very much. I recently listened to a Spice Girls memoir. Keep your fingertips pointed up. And just bend at the elbow towards your shoulder. All the way as far as you can. You might feel a nice stretch into your pinky. And bring it back. One more time. All the way into the pinky. And bring it back. Good. Other side. Stop. And bring it in. Serve yourself the platter. And bring it out. Nice and gentle. Bring it in. And relax. Very good. Next, we're going to lengthen your medial nerve, middle. Hand goes out to the side, palm facing the ceiling, fingertips down to the floor as much as you can. Fingertips out nice and wide. Gently bring your head to the side like we did earlier. If you don't feel anything, gently bring your arm back behind you. Yeah, there you go. And breathe. Then relax, do the other side. Hand up. Down, head over, and if you need to move it back, you can. And relax. Good. Next up, we're going to do a stretch that's usually very familiar to people, and I promise you most of you have done it wrong your whole lives. Arm goes out to the side. Arm goes across your chest. Other arm crosses over it. Yes, some of you knew where we were going, and I'm already going to fix you. I'm so proud of myself. If you're up here, you don't have a lot of leverage. In fact, this is what my high schoolers would do, right? They're getting their points. But I want for you to feel the stretch. So you're going to bring 4 arms to cross, or if it feels more comfortable, hands can pull as well to give you more leverage. From here, shoulder down away from your face. Excellent. And if you want to add something in, some wrist rolls. Keep it fresh and funky. And the other way. Good, and relax. Other arm across the chest, keep this one straight or as straight as you can. Other arm underneath, 4 arms crossed, shoulder down, wrist roll. and the other way. Excellent, relax. Just to take a little break. Anybody know what these muscles are called? Anybody else? I'm just seeing some muscles. Ooh, close. Someone up front had it. These are your deltoid muscles, the caps on your shoulders. Next up, we're going to stretch your tricep muscle. Point to your tricep muscle. Nice. Very nice. Most people got it. It's this muscle back here. Why is it called a tricep? Raise of hands. Raise of hands. Yes. Boom. So therefore, why are these biceps? There are two. So there is rhyme and reason to science, and anatomy has a lot of math in it in that way. So, how many here? 4, 3, 2. Very good. We are going to stretch the tricep muscle. Hand goes up, reaches to the middle of the back, or as far as you can. From here, other hand holds onto your elbow. If this is a stretch, keep it. If not, gently pull it to your midline or where your spine would reach to. Then, if you're looking down at the floor, gently push your head into that arm. If you want it even more of a stretch, but you can stay here, sit up a little taller, and then reach to the corner of the ceiling. Oh yeah. And gently relax. Other side, hand up, middle of the back. Other hand, elbow. Midline, gently put your head against your arm. If you want, sit up nice and tall. Reach to the corner of the ceiling. Very good, and relax. Excellent, so I always try to add in something new because a lot of people come to these every year. Here's your new thing. We are going to do a reverse prayer stretch. It is hard, but it is good. So, this is the strict version. Remember, I always give modification. So if you go to do this and you're like, absolutely not, just wait a moment. So, it's this one. I know, I told you, it's hard. So, my hands are touching in a prayer position up my back, kind of in the middle of my back. Here are your modifications. If this is like, absolutely not, I want you to bring it further down and just let as much of your hands touch as possible. If that still feels more uncomfortable than a nice stretch, I want you to you're going to keep me behind your back, but I'm going to show you. My palms are facing forward, they're in fists, and they're touching. So I'm here. Yeah, from here, lower those shoulders to open up the chest in front. So for everyone who's always like, I'm always like this, and I need to open up, this is an excellent stretch. If you know anyone in your life who's lacking the mobility to get their fists, grab anything in your house and use it as a yoga strap. Both of my hands are underneath it, and I come as close as I possibly can with them. So there are options for everyone, and this is really great to get your chest and shoulders open. Awesome. Next up, yay, the opposite. So we opened up this way, now we're going to open up the other way. And we're going to do a forward fold in the seated position. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold over your legs. Then, this is the optional part that I want you to watch. I'm going to grab onto either my toes or my ankles, and then I'm going to do that cat position that we did. So I'm here, and I pull my chest and belly away from my legs to really open up my back. Good, a lot of you are trying. If you haven't, you can try. Good, so you should feel your shoulder blades separating away from each other. Relax and gently roll up. Excellent. Next up, one of my favorites, the figure 4 stretch. A few options for this one. Ankle on knee if possible. If not possible, crossing at the ankles. Another way to modify it, to bring it up, is take one of those big nerdy books I know you all have at home, place them underneath your foot so that your foot is elevated. If you happen to have a yoga block, you can use that too, but it's a Geek Girl Strong thing to say something nerdy, so I added it in. Ankle on knee if possible. Hand gently pushes this knee down. If you don't need it, don't do it. Sitting up nice and tall like we spoke about earlier, you might feel a stretch in the back of your hip already. If you would like more of a stretch, keeping this flat back, sit forward. Good. Flex this foot to protect Excellent. And breathe, please. You're not breathing. Gently release. Other side. Ankle on knee. Good. Flexing this foot to protect the bent knee. Gently press this down. Sitting up nice and tall and sitting forward if you want to add that on. Good. Breathe. And relax. So that's sort of like the pigeon pose if you're familiar with it in yoga, but pigeon is a very difficult pose in reality, so this is a really great way to do it. Next, we're going to lunge in your chairs. So, if possible, and this is going to be tricky for some people, but we'll make it work, you're going to put one butt cheek on the chair. My front leg, 90-degree angle. My back leg, yeah, you got it, 90-degree angle. When you're here, take both hips, this back hip, point it forward like you got lasers coming out your hips. And you want to hit the same thing. Squeeze the butt cheek that's off the chair, and you should feel this hip stretch. If you don't, lengthen this leg, make it spicy, and do the same thing. If you're not feeling it, check in with your spine. Are you arching? If you are, do what we did earlier and bring it in with your belly. Then relax. Good. Other side if possible. If you're not able to do this on your chair, I'm still glad that you're seeing it. One glute on, one glute off. 2 90-degree angles. This leg back straight if you want. But both hips pointing forward. Glute activated to press through. And really lengthen everything in the front of your hip and maybe even your quads. And relax. Good. One more. Calves. You're that heel down in front of you. You might have to go off to the side if your head would hit the chair. Flex your toes towards your face, the whole foot. Hands like this. Reach with both hands towards your toes. If you cannot touch your toes, touch your shoelaces. If you cannot touch your shoelaces, touch your shin. If you cannot touch your shin, touch your knee. Wherever you feel a good stretch. Take one more deep breath here. Breathe out and switch. Good. Both hands again. On the heel, keeping the leg as straight as is comfortable for you. Reach for those toes. You should feel your calf and maybe even your hamstring stretching. Then gently come out again. And give yourselves a round of applause. All right, so crowd vote. We have a few minutes left. I can do the very quick nutritional tips that were in the description. I can also open the floor to questions, or we can navigate that. So hands up for nutrition. Hands up for questions. Okay. Very fast nutrition, because you'll find out why. You're going to get all this information if you want it. And then we're going to thinking. Then we're going to go into a couple of questions. All right, so the study of nutrition is very new. Does anybody know when the first vitamin pill came out onto the market? Yell it out just for time's sake. Whoever said 40 was the closest. The 1930s. In terms of the science, that makes this very young. So if you're out there in the world and you're like, why do they tell me eggs are good for me and then they tell me eggs are bad for me? It's because they're figuring things out. And I think that in the last 3 years, we've really learned that we need to let science take its time to figure things out. So if anybody tells you, I've got the solution for you, and they know nothing about you, it's a lie. Because if there was something that worked for all of us, I would be out of a job. It depends is the phrase to look for when working with a professional. If someone asks me a question, most of the people who know me, I say, well, it depends. Tell me a little bit more about your situation or you. Next up, sleep matters and helps. If you are tired and hungry, you know what you're like. Not any other tip. You're probably not great to be around. Therefore, you're not going to make the same decisions when you are tired, and it is just harder. So I'm sorry to tell you, but humans wouldn't sleep unless we needed it. There is no reason why, in terms of evolution, a species would be unconscious and have no defenses for hours on end unless it was absolutely necessary. You must sleep. It will help. Next up, stay hydrated. And I'm not talking about that women's health mag, maybe you're not hungry, maybe you're just thirsty thing. It can happen. dehydration leads to a lot of other symptoms in the body, including fatigue, including all of the other things we've been talking about today, including your muscles healing. So when you work out and you want your body to do what it needs to do, you need to rehydrate or hydrate in the first place. Create your own vending machine. If you have a desk, put the snacks that you would like to eat the most, the closest to you. Because very often what happens is someone's like, I'm bored. And they walk to the vending machine, when in reality all you wanted to do was talk to your coworker. You didn't really want the Doritos. Some days, you need the Doritos. But not every single day. Next up, set a timer if you tend to forget to eat. I tend to see this a lot with nerds. It's very often not that we're like constantly remembering to eat. We're constantly forgetting to stop working or doing the game or whatever to eat. So whether that's your phone, a human, in my case, a dog, who's like, it's time to go outside. Set your timer in your life. And lastly, join forces with the party. My favorite example of this is that I teach a program called the Power Program. And it's a 3-month program. One of my teams actually met during that program, started a D&D party afterwards, and they would bring their like healthy snacks as a potluck to each game and introduce one another to different ideas about food. Next slide, please. If you are like, yeah, Robyn, but like the thing that trips me up is how much should I be eating? And what should I be eating? This is a very nifty graphic that I got from my nutrition certification program, where rather than using a scale or a measuring cup, you can use a tool you have at all times, your hand. So we have protein, which they say is 1 palm per meal, 1 fist of veggies per meal, a heaping handful of carbs, and a thumb of fats. I will tell you right now, with how active I am and the way that my genetics are, one of those is not cutting it for me. I usually have about 1.5. And the only way to figure that out is through trial and error. If anybody tells you that you can figure out things with your body just by knowing, it's a lie. You have to try things and figure out what works for you. Really quickly, what's an example of a fat? Butter. What's an example of a carb? Rice. You all said the same thing. What's an example of a vegetable? Broccoli. What is this? What's an example of a protein? Chicken. We had a little bit of a mix there. Excellent. Often what people are missing when they're snacking is protein. So, a few different snacks that have a lot of protein include eggs. They can be boiled. They stink. Eat them outside. Go back in. Edamame. Hummus can be a good choice, but be careful of what else is in the hummus and what you're dipping into it. Jerky is really good. Be careful of the sodium. See how I'm like, this is good with this is good with that. Keep all of those things in mind. So, we have about 1 minute left. If you liked today and you enjoyed the movements you did and the very quick nutritional tips that I gave and you want to hold on to them, please scan that code if it doesn't work for you. I can give you the link. It's just more difficult that way. Sign up for our newsletter and you will get a PDF that lists everything we did with pictures so that you can do them on your own. And if you signed up for that, Jasmine, my lovely assistant today, has Geek Girl Strong stickers, which are new, and Geek Girl Strong bookmarks. You can choose one of them as a thank you for coming to wellness programming at a convention. Round of applause for yourselves. You can find me online everywhere at Geek Girl Strong. I basically just have professional social media so that I can navigate life well. If you're interested in bringing me to a workspace or a group, I do workshops. I do them virtually as well as in person. And I'm also looking for 3 private health coaching clients because I happen to have openings right now, and those can also be completely virtual. If none of those are something that you're looking for, consider joining our Patreon community. We have a completely locked down private Discord server where we talk about everything like the things we did. We talk about menstrual cycles. We talk about like trying to get pregnant. There are people who are like looking at me, they're like, yeah, we do. And we also just talk about nerdy things, like putting up their Barbenheimer outfits. It's a lot of what's happening right now. just a whole bunch of my worksheets and everything else in between. Thank you so much.